7 Deadliest Weapons in History. The earliest known purpose-built weapons in human history date to the Bronze Age. Maces, which were little more than rocks mounted on sticks, had questionable value as hunting tools, but they were superbly suited for smashing the bones and skulls of other humans. Later in the Bronze Age, the sword made its first appearance. Since that time, weapons have been refined to maximize the killing potential of the wielder while minimizing the ability of one's opponent to retaliate. Before we start the other video, remember to subscribe to our channel. Number 7. Maxim Machine Gun. The 19th century saw a revolution in firearms technology. Machine tools allowed for greater precision in gunsmithing. Misfires became less common with the introduction of the percussion cap and cartridge ammunition. Smokeless powder burned more cleanly and evenly than black powder, and gunsmiths were quick to realize the potential of utilizing a weapon's recoil to increase its rate of fire. Hiram Maxim was the first inventor to incorporate all of these innovations into a single weapon. The Maxim gun, developed around 1884, was a recoil-operated, belt-fed, water-cooled machine gun that fired more than 500 rounds per minute at an effective range of more than 2,000 yards, 1,830 meters. Number 6. Nuclear weapon. A thermonuclear hydrogen bomb, codenamed Mike, detonated in the Marshall Islands in the fall of 1952. The photo was taken at a height of 12,000 feet, 50 miles from the detonation site. Photo 4 of a series of 8. Atomic bomb explosion, nuclear energy, hydrogen energy. Nuclear weapons are the elephant in the room when the deadliest weapons in history are being discussed. The proliferation of nuclear weapons has provided humankind with the ability to inflict upon itself the sort of extinction-level event that was previously achievable only by straying into the path of an asteroid. The atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan, killed 70,000 people initially, with tens of thousands more succumbing to radiation sickness over subsequent months and years. Number 5. Shock cavalry. Medieval armored cavalry at the Battle of Hastings, 1066. Protected by chainmail armor and kite-shaped shields, mounted knights attack with heavy swords and with lances held over the shoulder or couched under the arm. A detail of the Bayeux Tapestry. Few military advances fundamentally altered European society more than the rise of shock cavalry. The ascendancy of the mounted knight was the result of an accumulation of technological innovations over hundreds of years. The war saddle had been introduced by the 6th century, and the iron stirrup, often mistakenly credited as the single invention that enabled heavy-mounted warfare, was common by the 7th. The curb bit, necessary for controlling a warhorse, probably dates from about the same time. Number 4. Greek fire or napalm. Stand-up legend George Carlin distilled the concept of the flamethrower in this way. Gee, I sure would like to set those people on fire over there, but I'm way too far away to get the job done. If only I had something that would throw flame on them. The first people to effectively weaponize Carlin's chain of thought was the Byzantine Greeks, who created a composition known to history as Greek fire. The composition of Greek fire was such a closely guarded secret that its exact formula remains unknown, but its effectiveness in combat likely prolonged the life of the Byzantine Empire. A modern version of Greek fire, napalm, first saw use during World War II. Incendiary bombs containing napalm were among the ordnance used in the Allied bombing of Dresden, February 13 to 15, 1945, and the firebombing of Tokyo, March 9 to 10, 1945. Number 3. Rifle. Until the 19th century, shoulder-fired infantry weapons were typically muzzle-loaded smoothbore muskets. These muskets could propel bone-shattering .75 caliber, 19 millimeters, rounds up to 200 yards, but they did so with little accuracy. To be quickly rammed from muzzle to breech, musket ammunition had to fit loosely in the barrel. When discharged, the musket ball wobbled down the barrel, contributing to erratic flight after it left the muzzle. Early attempts at rifling cutting shallow spiral grooves into a firearm's barrel were unsuccessful because lead ball ammunition had to be forcibly rammed into the rifled bore. Rifles were significantly more accurate than smoothbore weapons because the spiral grooves imparted spin on the projectile. Number 2. Submarine. Aerial port quarter view of the world's first nuclear-powered attack submarine, ex-US Nautilus, SSN 571, launched in 1954, being towed to Groton, CT to become a museum. US Nautilus, submarine, Navy, naval vessel. Early submarines were far more lethal to their crews than they were to their intended targets. The Confederate submarine H.L. Hunley sank repeatedly before its successful spar torpedoing the Union sloop Housatonic. Even this success must be qualified, however, as the attack resulted in the Hunley's sinking, again with the loss of all hands. By the late 19th century, advances in gasoline engines and electric motors had addressed the issue of propelling the boat above and below the water, and design improvements had greatly bolstered the seaworthiness of the craft. Number 1. Biological weapons. In the history of armed conflict, the disease has often claimed more lives than combat. Intentionally introducing infectious agents to the battlefield is a dubious strategy at best, however, as biological weapons tend to be even more capricious than chemical weapons. Viruses and bacteria do not discriminate based on uniform, insignia, or allegiance. Beginning in 1346, Genoese defenders at Kaffa, now Feodosia, Ukraine, withstood a Mongol siege that lasted for more than a year. When the disease began to ravage the besieging forces, the Mongols responded by catapulting plague-ridden corpses over the city walls. Fleeing the epidemic that soon took root in the city, the Genoese inadvertently carried the plague to Europe. Between 1347 and 1351, the Black Death claimed 25 million lives. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can come back with interesting videos. Thanks for watching.